Hey, welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with the Ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group and This Day Newspaper Limited's Group Executive Director, Kayode Komolafe. We call him KK. You're welcome, KK. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Yes,
Steve.
we missed you last Sunday.
Yeah. Good morning, Kashi.
Good morning.
Yeah.
How do you do, sir?
Very well. And you?
Fantastic.
All right,
I'm
so
great.
I will miss OG again today.
Yes, we miss
Maybe
OG.
next
On
week.
to our Sunday tonic. We'll start the review, as always, with the newspaper of record this day on Sunday. Let's take it from top to bottom. A window story at Zenith Bank's 35th anniversary. Shettima lauds bank's culture of technological innovation, integrity. Hails founder Jimovia for weaving technology into Nigerian banking system. That's a bank that has produced a governor, a vice president, the governor of the central bank. You know, isn't it interesting that at 35, Zenith Bank still rock solid, you know, and producing people who are serving, you know, their fatherland. You know, congratulations to Zenith Bank. So that's
congratulations to being order.
Yes, yes. So, the vice president, who I believe he was an executive director or something like that,
yes,
at a point at Zenith Bank, you know, and of course he honored the bank with his presence at that beautiful anniversary show that they had in Lagos 2 days ago. That story is on page 5. So is the next story. By elections, Aburi-led Labour Party not qualified to field candidates. INEC tells court, insists his tenure has elapsed. Labour Party is still battling with who is the chairman, who is the leader. You know, that's Labour Party for you there. And then below the masthead, Bagudu, Tinubu's administration open to ideas, recommendations on good governance, not blame game. That's on page 6 of today's newspapers. It's saying that yes, you know, the president is of the APC stock, but it's everybody's president. If you've got ideas and suggestions that can make our country better, the administration is open to ideas. It's not every time that we'll be going fault finding and blaming, you know, engaging in blame games. That Atiku Bagudu, the Minister of Budget and Planning, to the president. And then the other story there, violence, controversy, mar by-elections in 12 states. APC, PDP demand cancellation in Kano. PDP leaders, INEC officials, thugs arrested in Ogun. Kano, Kaduna, party alleges foul play. Okpebolo, false beavers machine malfunction in Edo States. I mean, PKK, this is about, we spoke at length about this yesterday, and of course everybody has monitored the turnout of the by-elections across the country in about 12 states, 19 constituencies, I believe. And but it turns out that
very low.
you know, and it was not as peaceful as we would have expected. And then the lead story, which we have highlighted beautifully on the program this morning, in high-risk counter-terrorism operation, federal government captures globally wanted Al-Qaeda leaders. And then the writers are quite illuminating. Ribadu attributes success of operation to months of deep surveillance, human intelligence. Says fit signals beginning of end of impunity for terrorist leaders. Information Minister hails security forces, urges media not to yield front pages to terrorists. Isn't that something, you know, very quite timely that the Minister of Information is saying there? Reiterates Tinubu's commitment to security. I think that this is an important development, KK, as you will analyze. If we are talking terrorism, we know what terrorism means. A Canadian court should not redefine what terrorism means when you say that political parties and stuff like that, just because you want to deny an asylum seeker, you know, papers. But this is very important. The link to Al-Qaeda and the fact that they've been there since 2012, I believe, and then for our intelligence to capture two of the most wanted, you know, deserves a lot of applaud, applause for them. We should applaud things like that, like this, when they happen. It's not every time that we have to castigate people and say, oh, you are not doing enough, you are not doing enough. Nuhu Ribadu should take his flowers, and I think that he spoke very well at that press briefing yesterday. KK, over to you. The cover picture, by the way, is showing the Nuhu Ribadu at the press briefing and the two captured individuals, Alengeri and Usman, who the leader and the second in command of that terrorist organization. Congratulations to Nigeria on this. KK.
I cannot agree more with you, Steve, that the applause, to the security and defense sector, is well deserved, on this occasion. Yesterday, the National Security Advisor, in a justifiably elated mood, addressed, the press at the National Counter-terrorism Center, located in the office of the National Security Advisor, and with the announcement of the great wins, of the capture of two leaders of the Ansaro, which is known to be an affiliate of Al-Qaeda, and that is their common name. One is Abu Bara, and the other one is Malam Mahmuda, and several names. Now, when you look at the, when you remember the atrocities, committed, by this organization, led by the two captured men, you see the significance, of what has happened, and certainly the resonance of this will transcend the shores of Nigeria, because as the National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribadu, explained, these people are not just on the wanted list, of Nigerian security authorities, but even internationally, they are because of their affiliation and also their operation. So it's a very, like you rightly said, this is a very significant step, and we need to applaud, the security agencies now. Now, the lessons from this is that this is a vindication of the position, which has been acknowledged, and which has been acknowledged widely, that in this administration, the factor of interagency cooperation, is, firmly in place, and that this kind of victory can only be achieved, by the security and defense sector when you have interagency cooperation, and not when, agencies, are working at, cross purposes. So the thing will be that, going forward, there should be more, of such cooperation, among the various agencies. Then the point made by the Minister of Information, Mohammed, is also, noteworthy, and that is the point that, the terrorists, terrorists should not be villainized, because, there have been theories of terrorism, that's what we call propaganda by deed, while terrorists, carry out, actions that could be shocking to the public, is that they want publicity, and when you yield the praise for them, they give them all the airtime, all the, the pages, and the space, on the blogs, unwittingly or wittingly, you might, be. The media, might be acting, in a way that is not in the interest of national security. Absolutely. And like Ribadu said, security is a shared, responsibility, and therefore the other lesson to be learned, by the media in this point is that we should, be cautious, on that particular factor, And let me just say this, and that is even, since we are doing this review, that story is the lead story of this day. But other stories, in other newspapers too. Vanguard, Punch, The Nation, but you discover that the emphasis given to this story, is quite disproportionate. To what could have been the emphasis, God forbid, if it had been the opposite, exactly, why the other time, for instance, when this same group, broke into prison. I mean, it was banner headline, everywhere. And I also support the remark you made earlier that is not the reportage of security should not just be about bashing those who are in charge,
who are in the front line of
the front line, because don't forget that, I mean, because of all these operations, I mean, we lose men and women, in the sector, paying the supreme sacrifice, to keep all of us secure. So the responsibility, of the media should be that, we should not glamorize,
don't give them PR oxygen.
Exactly, because, like I said, the movie, I mean, the recent data, for terrorists is that they do this because of what they call propaganda, by data. We shouldn't help in that, So all in all, I agree with you. It is a well-deserved applause, because by definition, the Office of the National Security Advisor is to ensure coordination, of these agencies.
Absolutely.
And I think this is a success.
He has done very well. He has done very well on this call. Absolutely. Yeah. Is there any other story on the cover of this?
Yes, except to join you again in congratulating Zenith Bank. At least that this is a Nigerian success. Story. And that that is well celebrated. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, just looking at the cover of These Days Style here, we have the MD of NDDC, the Niger Delta Development Commission, celebrating 50 years, and it also coincides with the 25th anniversary of the NDDC, the very institution he now leads as the managing director. We have a look at his imagery, and there's some poignant quotes there from that article that is in This Day Style today. And he spoke about the fact that we must not cut the bridge after crossing, we must strengthen it for others to follow, speaking to the style of his leadership. He also spoke about youth restiveness, to say that it is no longer the defining story of the Niger Delta. Today, he's talking about the Niger Delta youths and how they are building roads and lighting up communities. He spoke about education as well, to say education is not just about buildings, it's about minds. If children are not trained, they may destroy what we build. So we can glean, what we glean from this cover today is the fact that he's turning 50, and he has a plethora of life lessons at 50, not just for the people that he leads, but also for the younger generation who are coming up, and people who have a similar desire to get to the point he has gotten to in his career. So it's a big congratulations and happy birthday to Dr. Sam as well.
Happy birthday to the NDDC shield, and I think he's doing quite well.
All right.
Yes,
okay. So let's go to the Sunday Punch. The newspaper also has on its window side the two stories that we have touched on: violence, vote buying in Nogo, Kano, and Kaduna, and of course the Al-Qaeda affiliate leaders arrested in Nigeria. But Punch also, has today a few other important stories. The lead says refinery fraud. EFCC recovers billions as ex-NNPCL officials face prosecution. The Riders Anti-Graft Agency retrieves $10 million, 5 billion naira, chase fresh $13 million, and 10 billion naira. Indicted ex-NNPCL officials to be arraigned soon. I mean, this is an important, very important story inside today's Punch on page 3 about the rot, and the level of staggering corruption as far as trying to fix our refineries is concerned within the NNPCL. And EFCC has moved in big time, recovering money, billions of naira in dollars, in naira, and the prosecution is expected to follow. A few other stories that may be of interest, KK. Aregbesolaa's loyalists alleged assassination plot. Well, Aregbesola, who, if things were to be smooth, will probably be the de facto president to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, given his closeness and influence in those days. But of course, we now see that not only is he out of favor, in quote, he has now left APC, where he served as a minister and a governor, to ADC. Now some of his loyalists are alleging assassination plot. We don't know where that is coming from. And then Ondo man fakes own kidnap to repay 500,000 debt. Many people these days are engaging in these silly things, people arranging their own abductions and kidnaps, even just to, take money from their own parents. And then I think an important story that also, that will be of interest, particularly for those who have followed closely the politics of Lagos. Why Adin joined impeachment plot against Lateef Jakonde, ex-Lagos deputy governor, that's Senator Ojikutu, in this interview with Punch. How many people will recall that there was an impeachment attempt against Lateef Jakonde, who was considered to be possibly the shining example when it comes to governance in Lagos State, possibly, not to overuse the word father of modern this or modern that, but of course everybody recalls what Jakonde did to Lagos. So I think that would be a brilliant interview. I'm sure if you've read it, I can't even recall the details of how the attempt was made to impeach him. But those are important stories on the cover of Punch, KK.
Absolutely. I think, like I said, the story of the interview with
Senator
Ojikutu will be of historical interest, and for those who are interested in having a background, to what happened before and where we are now, in terms of governance, Yes, I deliberately did not, comment on the political stories, because I know it's other newspapers who have it.
It's even the lead for Sunday Tribune.
So expectedly,
low turnout, vote buying, hunt exercise. That's what Tribune says.
So expectedly,
the nation as well.
the of course, the story of the election, the by-election. Yes, I'm ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, Steve, I think basically all the papers agree on one point, and that is that the turnout was low. Yeah. In some constituencies, there were reports of violence and attempts, to manipulate, the results, and significantly arrests, were made, in some cases. So going forward, INEC, should learn lessons from this, because people say that maybe the advantage of a by-election is that it's like a rehearsal, to a major election, so that when you, if there are area where you need to put finishing, touches, and correct the errors, to be corrected. But beyond INEC, the way the election has gone, also speaks to the standing, of the political parties, because the trend, has been there, and I think it should worry not just not just observers of Nigerian politics, but even politicians themselves and the people. And that is that for every election you discover that you have a lower, turnout than the previous one. I mean, democracy, is supposed to be participatory,
Yet more people are registering, more people are collecting.
More people are collecting this,
voters' cards.
but people are not, interested in voting.
To vote.
Meanwhile, it's all. All season. The
off-season election.
I'm saying that campaign by politicians, who want power, it's not. It's all. Once you finish an election, the campaign, for the next election begins. The other day, INEC had to even point out, to political parties that there are rules that there is a time that we should have a campaign. But I'm saying that despite, that, which has been done, for that is a constant, continuous campaign, yet people are not, sufficiently mobilized. And that is, I assume that the matter of political mobilization, political education is a crucial function of political parties.
Would you include motivation in that?
Motivation, I agree, absolutely, yes. They're very important that parties are not just only to present candidates, for election people to win, but also for political development, is a very crucial aspect of development. Just as we talk of economic development, social development, there is also the factor of political development. So for the political development of the country, I think political parties should perform their functions, like you said, motivating people, mobilizing the political education, and also, organizing, because if parties are properly organized, even it is only members or registered members of, claimed registered members of political parties that actually come out to vote, you will discover that the turnout will be more than what we have. But then, even in election, you expect by far more than members of the political parties to vote. So I think it's a thing that should worry, or that, And as for the violence, I think those who are arrested, the law should take its course. There should be proper investigation.
Absolutely.
And then you do prosecution. Prosecution.
Yes.
Should go ahead.
Not just for violence. The Tribune is saying 2 INEC officials found with 2.5 million naira inside vehicle at midnight. INEC officials.
All these are
agents with 30 million naira cash in Kaduna.
Yeah. Yes, all these are alleged crimes, and I think
ballot paper booklets.
Allegedly.
Yes,
they are alleged because they have to be proven.
They have to be proven in
And
court,
interestingly, the story you spoke about with regards to faking, and I think I don't know if it's the same person, but police have arrested a 29-year-old for faking own kidnap as well.
Okay. Yeah, the story on the cover of
I think that was the Punch, yes, the cover of the Punch. Okay, so that's another similar story. But primarily, we have similar stories in the nation as also. We can move on to the next.
Okay, should we look at the Sunday Telegraph very quickly?
Okay.
The lead story says coalition. Is a focus on the coalition party, and they're saying how key figures switched parties 20 times in 19 years, and they're saying that Atiku, Obi, El-Rufai, Amechi lead in this nomadic kind of politics, moving from one place to the other, seeking power. And then why 2023 Labour Party candidate is yet to adopt party. That's Obi. And then Obi is politically unstable, says ex-governor. And then the story on top of that, fresh $21.5 billion loan, OPS frets, organized private sector, that is, over sustainability, rising debt service. Do we have anything of interest in Sunday?
Interestingly, on page 18, there's a fresh eruption over the End Bad Governance protest as the Next Generation Nigeria confab, promised by Tinubu, fails to hold 10 months after. And activists are kicking subcommittee, blames the situation on the presidential memo, security clearance, 36,000 youths to participate in this. And interestingly, the Vanguard is it would be nice to read this article, but they're speaking on the Canadian terrorist label, and their headline is "The Reason APC and PDP Earned Canada's Terrorist Label." I think contrary to a lot of the reactions we've seen to this, they remain diversifying, with now we see some parties believing that, maybe there are things that could have led to this happening. So I think those are the primary stories on the Vanguard, excluding the ones we have already covered.
Okay, so nomadic politicians on the cover of Telegraph, and then fresh
eruption over the End Bad Governance protest on
Sunday Vanguard.
Yes, the story of Sunday Telegraph again is a reminder of the fact that we don't have yet organic parties. That is, political parties in terms of organization should be organic. That it should be connected.
Ideology-driven.
Ideology-driven. The values so that when you say. You still say you belong to this party, and Kachi says, no, I belong to another party. There should be a distinguishing feature. There's certain,
part of that,
exactly. There are certain ideas that we are very passionate about.
Yes.
Which
do we have that?
As different from Kachi, but that is we don't have that now because there are no ideological boundaries. That is why the migration is so
the
easy.
defection.
The defection better. Better put Kachi. It's so.
Will you think that we were closer to it with the two that Babangida created at a point, SDP and NRC, in terms of ideological leanings?
Yeah,
we've never had it.
Yes, we are, but except that the deficit in that was that people said, that was artificially created. Imposed. By the way, since you mentioned General Babangida now, Today is his birthday. He's 84 today. So,
How come
so
no
happy
people has it
birthday!
up
Happy
for-
birthday to
happy
the,
birthday
to the
to
former president.
IBB.
Yes, yeah, no.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and wish him long life and in good health.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, because that one that was a deliberate attempt by that administration, in a well choreographed, transition program, which, by the way, theoretically rooted, because there's literature, about that particular transition program, which in current discussion of it, ignored, that's well defined. I mean, you know that SDP was a little to the left, as defined, and then RC, it was a little to the right, a little to the right. Yeah. So I think until we'll have, organic parties will have, and that is why it's interesting that what you have said, reminds me of this famous, quote by the late Audu Obe, former PDP chairman, former minister, former exactly, when he said the party which he once led is the party, gloating that it was at that time during Obasanjo's period that was the largest party in Africa. But Audu Obe said it was the largest rally in Africa. Okay. So we have to convert rallies to organic
in
parties.
loving memory, of course, of Audu Obe.
Thank you very much, KK.
So much.
Thanks for the for the beautiful recollections and all your contributions. Thank you. We enjoyed it. Yeah. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you for watching and do stay safe. I'm Steve Ayorinde.
And I'm Kachi Ofia from our entire team here in Lagos, Nigeria. Enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day. Goodbye.